Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for choosing Across the Fence. I'm Will Michael in this afternoon for Judy Simpson. Our guest today is one of the most recognized and respected people in Vermont. He spent 2 decades in Vermont media, first in radio and then as a reporter, anchor, and news director of this station. Earlier this year, he was sworn in as Vermont's Secretary of Agriculture, where he oversees the Agency of Agriculture, Food, and Markets. It's approximately 120 employees and a multi-million-dollar budget. It is a pleasure to welcome Anson Tebbetts. Great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Will. It's great to be here. Thank you very much.
We were last with you on Across the Fence back in February. You having fun with this? This is a new gig and a lot of fun?
Absolutely. It's a great place to be. Vermont Agriculture is a great place to be a part of it, and we're having a lot of fun. The staff's having a lot of fun, and we're going at it, trying to make a better place for Vermont.
One of the biggest challenges directly this summer has been the weather. We prepare for this program. Sometimes we're hearing massive rainstorms outside. I know the governor a week or so ago had some flood declaration, FEMA money. Can you bring us up to speed?
Sure.
What sort of is the status? Because this isn't just a dairy farmer piece. It's not just a vegetable or berry. This is everybody.
Yeah, it has been a really, really challenging year for all of our farmers. And it began early on, right after we had a slow melt of the snow. It was cold. There was a lot of water then. It never really warmed up, and we had a lot of rain. So it's really impacted some of our regions more than others, particularly cropping for Addison County has been really, really challenged, getting on the land, getting their corn planted. Also, those folks that rely on hay for their cows and feed. 2 things. There's the quality is not going to be as great because they haven't been able to get on the land to harvest, and also it's just been really difficult to get on the land. And of course, anyone that's maybe growing a garden at home knows the challenges are you need a long stretch of warm days, and we just haven't had that. A little bit better the last few weeks. I think we recovered a little bit on some stuff, but I think it will have a lasting impact into the winter for our farmers.
Well, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but that's really the issue here. It's somewhat immediate in that we can see it, but the economic impact comes October, November through January, February.
Right, and it will be interesting if we can get, if we don't have an early frost, and maybe we get some warm weather into September and into October, that would allow the corn to mature more, and maybe people to get on the land and get another crop off the fields for hay. But yeah, the quality will be down. One upside of this, the folks that are relying on grass and pastures, as people know about their lawns, you probably could mow your lawn 3 times a week because of all the rain we've had. So there will be a little bit of benefit, I think, for the folks that are really relying on grass for pasturing, but that's only the little bit upside of it. But it will be a real challenge come January, February, March about how much feed is out there, and the quality of that feed will certainly be down.
Before the weather, as you were coming into the secretaryship, you were on a listening tour. You heard, I know, about better communication. You heard about a number of things. What stood out for you, Anson?
One thing I did hear a lot was about education, and that starts from kindergarten, preschool, right up through secondary and to FFA, from colleges and folks. I think there's a real interest out there to get more people interested in agriculture as a career, as a profession. It may be someone that may want to work on a farm. It may be someone that wants to work with farmers. But we did hear consistently that folks really want to either be involved in food or food systems. And that's one thing that we heard. And I think we're going to try to coordinate through the agency with some of our partners through UVM Extension, through FFA, through our vocational tech centers, our farm to school programs, preschool, all that kind of...
like Vermont Technical College.
Absolutely. Yeah. Vermont Tech would be a major player of that with the 2+2 program we have there. You can go to VTC for 2 years and then transfer over to UVM with scholarships. So I think there's a real interest out there for education and really focusing in farming as a career and making a decent living.
But one of the things you're highlighting in your comments is the fact that there currently are fewer and fewer Vermonters in agriculture, certainly than when you and I grew up. How important is agriculture in Vermont today?
Very important. It's for, you look at dairy alone. The industry is about a $2 billion a year industry for Vermont, and especially in some of our areas like Orleans County, Franklin County, Addison County. Those areas really rely on a robust agriculture economy to help other industries, either it be trucking, fertilizer, feed, all those things, buying things that support farms. So those are all very, very important to us. And it's also very important to our rural economy, and that's one of the things we're focused on and with the governor and the Scott administration. Is we know that there's certain areas of Vermont that are doing a little bit better, but our rural areas really need support. And one way that we can support our rural areas is through agriculture.
And one of the ways that's happening is the growth, dairy being the most significant portion of ag in Vermont, but the growth of non-dairy has been, it's a phenomenal story.
Yeah, we have some wonderful people doing fruits and vegetables, so hydroponics. That is something that's going on. We've got people wanting to grow hops, which is important. Also, our maple industry, as you can see around the state of Vermont, we've really done a great job, and the demand for maple continues to grow across the country. We'll be working more on that, we hope, in the future about introducing maple to, we're all familiar with it here in the Northeast and, New York and New Hampshire and New England, but there are other pockets of the United States that are still, what is this stuff? And I think we can probably do some work on this as a natural sugar. It's a healthy sugar for everybody, and it's more than just putting on your pancakes in the morning.
And our producers have the ability to create more, to produce more syrup than they have any time in history.
Absolutely. We're still leading the nation in that, and I think we want to remain the #1 producer of maple syrup, and I think we've got potential growth for that across the country in that.
Again, you came in on the heels of new water quality legislation, and it's no secret that Vermont and Vermonters have been working on that for quite some time. Are we making a difference now?
I think we're making some progress, and I think that the big change that you're seeing is we have a coordinated effort across all sectors now, working with natural resources, Extension. We've got a number of farm groups that are stepping up across the state. There's 4 farm groups that are coming to the table. Farmers know that this is very, very important, that they need to manage their nutrients, what they're doing on their land, and they're investing millions of dollars in those programs. The state of Vermont alone in the Agency of Agriculture over the next 2 years will be spending about $5.2 million on improvements to help the water quality in the state of Vermont. So I think everybody's in, natural resources, the farmers, and we're all working on it. And I know people are probably frustrated we're not going fast enough, but I can assure you that everyone is working really, really hard to make sure that our waterways are improved.
One of the pieces where we do see a difference, and this is definitely at the higher end to be clear, but you've initiated something, VESP, which I think is the acronym for Environmental Stewardship Program. Right. You'll correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's correct. That's correct.
And what is this all about?
That's a partnership with our federal partners, with NRCS. And what it is we have a number of farmers out there that are going above and beyond just the normal regulations. So we've put together a program with some really strong teeth into it. It's a voluntary program, so if a farmer wants to sign up to it, it can be a small farmer, it can be a large farmer, a medium farmer, vegetable farmer, dairy farmer. And we've got a program. We're going to go and we're really going to go out there and assess what's happening on the farm with their soils, because that's where it all begins, is sort of what's the soil quality. So we've got a recognition program here that could lead into financial incentives down the road for a farm if they qualify for the stewardship program. So it's a pilot program. We hope to have about 10 farmers enrolled in it. They'll sign up. We will go out there with our federal partners and really go out and assess that farm in a detailed way, and we'll find out if they qualify for this stewardship program, because there are a number of farmers out there that are really doing innovative things with cover crops, buffer zones, manure management, all this type of stuff. And I think it's important that at some point we all recognize those and use those as examples. If they can come to the table and we can get a few of these people on board, then that will spread across the state and everyone would want to be part of this program.
And I think that picking up on that last piece there that you just described, as I understand it, that's the goal of this, to sort of have a goal here and to allow other people to attain that level.
Absolutely, and that's what we want to do. We want to just bring it up for everybody, and it's rigorous. It's not going to be something that, there's going to be, about $1,000 worth of soil tests done on your land, and we're really going to assess those operations to make sure they're doing above and beyond what's needed.
So you obviously, these are really important, heavy statewide public policy issues. You also have another side of your job, at least I hope, when you talked about having fun. Breakfast on the farm, buy local markets. They're underway in Caledonia, the Champlain Valley Fair getting underway. These things all symbolize a big part of Vermont historical agriculture as well as today's agriculture.
Yeah, you got to remember in our title in the agency, it's agriculture, food, and markets. And the food movement continues to grow across the state of Vermont. And what we're doing is we've had a couple of buy local markets this summer, both in Waterbury at the State Office Complex on the State House lawn. We're going to have another one in October. And these people are real champions, and I'm always impressed with these people that start with an idea, a product, whether it be a maple product or something, and they turn it into
cheese,
something.
It's cheese, meat. These are great stories.
And they're so hardworking people, and they've got it to that level, and now they want to take it to a new level. So they're selling it directly to consumers, but they're an important part of our economy, and some of them have grown. And they may start with just a couple of employees in their kitchen, but they grow 5, 10, 15 employees along the way. And that's what we need to do at the agency, is try to support them, get them to some of these food shows in front of food buyers. That's part of what we do. We get them to maybe the fancy food show in New York, get in front of some of those big buyers, and if you can get some sales in front of them, the company can grow and take off and become an important part of our economy.
There is just a quick message that I want to make sure that we address while I have you here today. We've got kids going back to school now, some soon. That always brings renewed safety concerns. You made an effort this summer to highlight safety, especially with some of the farm machinery that's on the road. And that's not just a summertime thing.
Now, that's a year-round thing, especially as we go into the fall months when they start harvesting corn and we start putting manure on the land and so forth. Really important. The state, everyone drives a car pretty much, and you're going to see vehicles on the road. And we just set out a public service announcement working with public safety just to try to slow down, be kind, make some room. Some of this equipment is rather large, and just sort of be aware that you're sharing the roads with some farm equipment that is a little bit bigger than your car, and just try to be patient and kind. And our farm community really is impressed with how well our public is responding to that message. And we all need to kind of share the road together and just be safe.
We have a couple minutes left. This could take up an entire program. It's sort of why I made a note here at the end, just to touch on it. Important, but briefly. Agency of Natural Resources Secretary Julie Moore was in earlier this week. She talked about the Trump administration budget, and while not finalized, some concerns that Vermont is maybe lose about a third of its budget in the Agency of Natural Resources. What do we know about the impact potentially on the Agency of Ag, Food and Markets?
Yeah, I think we'll have a better idea. I think October is the date when the federal budget really may come together. We hope it will come together. And it certainly would impact what we do, probably not at the degree of the Natural Resources Agency or the Department of Education. We have about 15% of our dollars may come through federal. So that is significant.
But a lot of water quality dollars.
Absolutely, and that would be the biggest impact to us. We have some positions that are funded through federal funds, and that's the one we'll be keeping our eye on. But overall, we're about 15% of our $22 million budget is federal funds. So we do need to keep a close eye on that, and we're just hopeful that things will come together and we can maintain what we do have now.
Anson, you made mention of this earlier. Vermonters refer to it as the Agency of Ag, the Agriculture Agency. We often forget it's agriculture, food, and markets. Again, about 30 seconds. What is that food and markets piece?
Well, you can tell I've gained some weight since I left Channel 3. It's,
working on the food part?
Working on the food part, absolutely. Absolutely. The food part is we have an agriculture development division, and they're focused on growing that sector where we can get more food into our schools, into our grocery stores, into bigger markets. And it's really about those food and those markets, because we only have a population of about 650,000 people. So we need to get some of that great product to some of our bigger markets, into the Boston and New York. And that's one of the things we're blessed with is we're so close to those big markets.
I do need to stop us there as we're just about out of time. But if you'd like to learn more about Vermont's Agency of Agriculture, Food and Markets, we encourage you to visit the website that we've put on the screen, agriculture.vermont.gov. And if you have a question or comment for the Secretary, you can call Anson at the agency at 828-2430. That's 828-2430. Anson, thank you very much. Great to see you.
Great to see you, Will. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming in. That is our program for today. We know you have choices, so thanks for choosing us. I'm Will Michael, inviting you to join us back here each weekday afternoon for another visit Across the Fence.